Clash Royale.
Off guard. Seeing lots and lots of drop strats here from Dark. Classic has been holding firm for the most part. See if he can bring it up to an early 3-game, or to an early 3 wins here in game number 4. Because King Sejong Station, like you said, is a map that has been around for so long. Players have figured it out. Can Dark still figure out something new?
Can he do that here, guys? The map is loading up. Classic up 2-1 in this best of 7. Going into set number 4 now for this team kill. Let's do it now on King Sejong Station right now. Start the game now, going into King Sejong Station for game number 4. Down on the bottom right, in the red, the Zerg player, it is Dark.
See what the fans have to say about Dark today. Lots of fans out there in the audience. Of course, this saying Dark is on his way to take over the finals, and I guess he certainly is, but here is Classic, the blue Protoss player, who also has fans talking about him. Looking forward to the reign of Classic, who is the Protoss itself.
Yeah, Tassadar is what they called him there. Tassadar Do is his real Korean name, so mix them together and you get Tassado.
It's like in English when we call him the chin toss. It's like, well,
something like that.
Part of him is embodied with part of the Protoss itself. But this is King Sejong Station, somewhat similar to our last map, and we are starting to see exactly the same start by both players, going for those early expansions, which is maybe a little bit more remarkable for Classic, who does like to get that down very early.
Classic likes to go for this 2 adept, 2-gate style on this map a lot, and we are going to see this here. I think Dark should know about this, and on this map, obviously, you can get the Overlord over there very, very fast in the front of the wall and just see that this is coming, so he should be prepared for this. It is a nice build to put on some pressure onto your Zerg opponent, though, and make him react and make a bunch of units.
All right, now we did have Zergling speed just started there with the first few Zerglings coming out, so not an all-in by any means, but and everybody out there is like, well, it's obviously not an all-in. I'm just like, well, let's take a look at the last 2 games in a row. What have we seen Dark do? Some version of an all-in and then try to macro out behind it. I actually just want to see a straight-up game. Oh, sneaky 007 probe able to get away and start this 3rd base off to the side. But we'll see if this Zergling speed, which is not just finished, is going to be done in time to ward these adepts away. Looks like the Queen's doing a good enough job with it.
Yeah, a nice little harass there by Classic, where he draws the Lings into the main, and then, oh, he actually commits to the Shade this time. Not sure if that's a good idea.
Okay, well, you don't need Zergling speed if the Adepts actually just stand right on top of your Adepts, but really cool movements there. Loses 1, but will save the 2nd.
Will Shade into a Queen, but it will get away here. And nothing but just adept production out of the Protoss. And we do have that Twilight Council into immediate resonating glaives production here, or rather, research. And I think we should be seeing a pretty nice amount of adept pressure here in this game.
Yep, now there goes a slow Overlord into the main to try to see what he can see. And with mostly Adepts out just yet, should actually be able to catch most of everything. If he does get back to see that Twilight Council researching, then he'll pretty much know what's up and know what to expect, which should trigger either Baneling production to maybe deal with those Adepts, because after game 1, Dark knows just how scary Adepts can be.
And Classic, he, in the first game at least, didn't have the easiest time of splitting, but his splits have been good in the games after game number 1. We do see that Dark is going for some more drops. He doesn't have to be going for drops for this. He could just be getting an early +1 perhaps and use the Banelings for defense here, especially because there are already a good amount of Adepts here. It looks like about 9 already making their way across the map.
We do have a lot of Adepts, but there is that drop Overlord with the Zerglings being rallied away outside of the view. Now, those are Zerglings that Dark is going to need back at home to help with this defense, because with the Baneling nest just now finishing, he's still morphing those Banelings, and they are not out in time. He needs to transfuse to save the Queen, doesn't do it in time.
I mean, look at this. It's not even like a gigantic number of Adepts, but it's going to be enough. Resonating Glaze finishes up, and there's only Lings to defend this. There's not even any Banelings.
22 Zerglings being made right now, but those will not be out in time. Some Banelings hitting, but still drones starting to die.
See if Dark can get some nice counter harass here in the main. He does drop out all those Lings, and they're just chilling. Okay, there they go. The Adepts will eventually be cleaned up.
But Zerglings in the main, we'll see how many probe kills they can get. Actually, some decent numbers here as they do chase that last line of probes. A couple of Adepts at home mean that these Zerglings will eventually be cleaned up. But here comes the next round of Adepts into Dark's base.
Those Baneling hits in the main you were talking about really just secured Dark's position.
Does get the surround there on the Adepts, and with some decent Baneling hits, a decent number of these Adepts will be able to be cleaned up.
Some of them do survive, and with the Resonating Glaives, you can get a bit of damage, but definitely a win here for Dark. Cleaning up the 6 Adepts, only losing 4 drones.
He is down sizably in the worker count, though, so all of that harass definitely did do its job. However, this is Dark's opportunity to catch up in the worker count here with a big Baneling drop inside the main.
Classic has been on point with his pulls. I think he only missed 1. That happened on that Dusk Towers game. Let's see if he does recognize this one coming in.
Yep, drop Overlord is here. Will there be a pull of the probes there? It's a little bit late there, but decent splitting means that not that many probes will actually die.
They all do come back. It's not going to matter. It's only going to kill.
He's actually actively splitting the probes around this last Baneling. But he does get a couple more at the end there. Here comes drop number 2 into the natural.
Immediate overcharge. Classic, it looked like he was staring right at that Mothership core right as that came in. By the way, the double Stargate did get scouted by that drop, so Dark does know that is on the way. Has he prepared at all? There's 1 Spore at the 3rd.
I think he is also building a 2nd Spore there as well, but he will need to commit to at least a little bit more defense, because here comes in drop number 3, or drop attempt number 3, once again immediately pushed back.
You can see him trying to come in from a weird angle. Maybe trying to go around the pylon or just catch Classic off guard, but Classic is on top of it. Now there's Phoenixes out. He's going to have to drop those Banelings to save him here.
He does get all 4 of them out, and a few of them will survive. Just 2. Okay, 3, yeah. Turns out if you have all of your Phoenixes lifting things, there's nothing to shoot, so 3rd Baneling does survive. They will take the long, slow roll home. Although I guess they don't have Baneling speed upgraded, so they are actually just walking.
They just scuttle on over. Get there eventually. It looks like Dark wants to take a 4th base as Classic takes his 3rd. Would be a nice time to do it. I think, especially once you see the Phoenixes, you know that your opponent can't really put on a huge amount of pressure. As long as you deal with the Adepts, you should be okay. So I do like getting this 4th base at this timing, but he does need to get a bit of Baneling hits here to secure this 4th.
Yeah, and with that Glaives upgrade, these Adepts will actually be able to deal with that hatchery if it's not defended immediately. It is. So Dark not willing to let that go without a fight. However, lots of Phoenixes out here as well, so having to manage both harass from the air in his natural as well as his big amount of Adept pushing into the 4th.
No sign of Baneling speed on the way, and consistent Phoenix production out of Classic. He's going up to 10 Phoenixes, and we do see the transition into double Robo. Very common. Nice surround here by the Lings.
Yeah, actually shading right on top of the Zerglings. However, those Glaives actually do a lot of damage, and or allow him to deal more damage more quickly. Cleaning out most of those Zerglings even after shading right in the middle of them. But yeah, like you said, so many Phoenix out there, and more Baneling drops coming in for Dark.
He's been very consistent with this all game long. We finally do see a Forge on the way.
How many Banelings does it take to kill a pylon?
I'm not exactly sure, actually.
I don't know either. Somebody tweet that at us, because if he drops everything right on that...
like 6?
Yeah, on that one pylon powering everything, that might be worth it. But either way, it's going to be some more worker carnage here if Dark has anything to say about it.
See if
There's
this
that
can get
lone
the minute.
Baneling, he just like actually doesn't know it still exists.
Yeah, he thought it died there. Well, coming in for the drop now. And a bunch of the probes are pulled, but he doesn't split.
No! Okay.
Oh, that was scary.
Not the greatest of hits here from the Banelings, but nice control by Classic.
He's being so annoying at this.
Oh, he actually
Finally
just
goes
doesn't
down.
drop the rest of those Banes. Okay. But more drops coming in here. This is just Dark's way of holding on for the late game. Hybrid Range is about to finish, so at least committing to a good way to deal with all of this Protoss air.
Yeah, for sure. Huge gateway explosion on the way here for Classic, and he finally starts +1. He's going to be down 2 upgrades in attack. Let's see if this can come down here. Okay, nope. Double overcharge right away. Classic continues to be really on point with his defense against these drops.
Yeah, Classic really understands that this is a key component of Dark's ability to harass him. So you just got to be on point, and he is. So Hydra's here actually should be able to push this Prism away and just barely miss sniping it off.
Fancy Classic there.
Classic's control this game has actually just been so sick. The immediate pulls on the probes, pulls on the warp prisms, and control of the Phoenix is not allowing them to get picked off either. But now that there are actually a sizable amount of Hydras out, it'll be interesting to see how effectively they are able to deal with this many Phoenixes. If you don't have enough Hydras, then they just get lifted and die. So nice to see that the numbers are at least correct. It's still 12 drones going down. You can see Protoss ahead in the work count.
I'm kind of worried for Dark here because he's stuck on this composition that's going to be heavily countered by what Classic has in just about 2-3 minutes.
Yep.
He's going to have Storm and about 6 or more Immortals when this attack hits. And, only now is the Infestation Pit and the Lurker Den coming down. Storm is going to be so effective against Ling, Hydra, Baneling. It's going to be unbelievable. He already has these 4 Templars that are building up energy, and Storm is already halfway done. It does get scouted now by Dark, and we'll see what he does to respond to it.
All right, well, can he control these Banelings well enough to get kills? Only gets 3, but, still value there. And now Dark is actually on the worker count that he wants, up at 75. Zerg traditionally gets maybe a little bit of a higher max number of workers than most other races, so he's exactly where he wants to be. Depth drop in the main should be able to limit that a little bit, but this time, oh no, Classic. So much work all game long with 16 probes. They're out of here.
Yeah, and guess what? With +2 attack on those Banelings, they one-shot the probe, so instantly 11 of them died. Classic, though, doing a nice bit of counter-harass here. Gets 14 drones on the other side of the map.
Oh my god, this is worker genocide again. Here comes another round of Banelings rolling through. Nice cannon positioning to be able to deal with those, but more workers still taking hits.
Yeah, and it seems like what Dark wants to do is go up to Broodlords once again. I'm not sure that Classic is going to give him that time, though. Especially on a map like this where the 4th bases are so close. Literally all Classic has to do is stroll on over with that army and attack. It's really going to be up to good Lurker positioning, but with the earlier Phoenix production that he had, if he has an Observer in place, he can lift all of them up.
Yeah, but Banelings and Lurkers are going to make it incredibly difficult for this army of Classic to get up onto the high ground to harass that 4th base. But with Zerglings breaking down the rocks there to the natural expansion for Classic, Dark is still trying to get out there and make some aggression happen.
Let me take a look at exactly what Classic has. He has 7 Immortals, 1 Archon, 7 High Templar, and still 8 Phoenixes. 13 Adepts to support all of that.
Banelings actually do get through, so at least they'll get a scout. More Banelings warping in, Banelings warp in, man. That would be a little broken.
Scary thought, man.
He keeps trying to move Banelings into an area that he knows is very heavily defended there by those cannons, but he's still finding some probe kills, so can't really fault him for that. And once again, Classic is only on 40 workers.
I would like if Classic actually went for the 5th base or came at a different angle. This is one of the hardest ramps, as you were saying, to attack up, especially with the Lurkers and the Spore Crawlers and the Hydras and Banelings just waiting for stuff to walk into them. It looks like Classic wants to play it a bit more passively, but he is running out of time, and he's not getting the correct tech to deal with the eventual Broodlord switch. This is kind of funny, just rolling up on the space and killing all of the...
Actually, everything there except for the Zerglings. Queens will eventually ferry over, but still 6 worker kills. Both worker lines being very heavily harassed. However, Phoenixes, they're pretty fast, and will at the very least give Classic a whole scout of exactly what the situation is in dark spaces. He will also scout the Greater Spire, so at least he knows that's coming up.
Nice timing there. Even going to pick up this queen. Oh, lets it live there at the end. It's like, no, you deserve to live, actually. I'm
just kidding.
Live, yeah.
No, what is that called? It's regicide. No, regicide's when you kill the king. What's it called when you kill the queen?
Queen regicide.
Some history nerd out there knows that. So if you know that, definitely tweet it at us. This is a learning experience for everyone. A lot of oh no, here come more banelings just trying to continue to get the hits they need.
Dark used to do this on this map all the time in the olden days, but now he's bringing it back, that old style that he used to play. It's very refreshing to see. And by the way, with that Phoenix run-by or fly-by through the main of Dark, he did scout the Greater Spire, and he immediately got the necessary tech up. He already had the 2 Stargates, so he just adds 1, and already 3 Tempests on the way. So he's going to be more than prepared this time around. And he's no stranger to playing these long macro games against Zerg. He has some of the best control towards the end of the game once it gets to those super late game fights.
Yeah, and Tempest High Templar is the combo that you really need when you go super late game. But the Zerglings will exactly get up here into the natural, maybe force a little bit of... okay, yeah, there's at least 1 storm out. And he will see the Tempests here as well.
Adrenal glands are pretty good.
Yep.
See how much damage that did to that Cybernetics core. He might want to go for another run by there because he knows that the eventual switch into air units and upgrades is coming. So it would be a nice catch there. He's making a second Spire. Wants to go double upgrades here.
Yeah, wouldn't be a bit surprised. It just needs as much as he can get here because this is sort of that critical mass that you're starting to see Protoss ascend to. If he does, get that, 15, 20 Tempests out, then especially with High Templar, tons of energy underneath them. This can be incredibly difficult for Zerg to deal with.
It's a very strong army, and you can see that Dark himself is preparing for the super late game. The static defense begins, and look at this, he's going to try to run by even at the back door here, but there's just way too much defense. He can clean up some of these cannons.
Oh, he's actually going to kill off at least one of those, I think that was just a Zealot, not a High Templar, but he's drawing out the storms. And apparently it does appear as if Regicide is, usable for Monarchs of either gender. So
that multitasking out of Rapid.
It's all good, but we got tons of storms here all over those Broodlords. Not enough transfusions to keep at least 2 of them alive. So those will get sniped off there. But Tempest moving forward into this wall of spores. But will we see enough to be able to use this? I don't see any Vipers out.
Yeah, that's a bit of a problem. He needs something else to deal with these air units of the Protoss.
It's going to be difficult, but look at all those transfusions. Although huge storms there all over pretty much everything. The Broodlords there as well as the Corruptors, but this is actually enough Zerg units to try to deal with this, and there might be a limited amount of storms starting to be here for Classic.
Yeah, he needs to get another tag, perhaps on some of those lurkers, begin to snipe some of them out, and actually, as I say that, he goes for it right away. And a little run by here is going to be cleaned up. Not too interesting. Really, it's about this fight here in the middle of the map.
Still continuing with all of those storms all over those Corruptors, and the Corruptor numbers are starting to dwindle. Look at all of these storms. Oh my god, it's monsoon season here in King's Edge on station. But are there enough Corruptors and Broodlords to finish them? Nothing there to hit the Broodlords, and this actually could just be too much Zerg.
No more storm and nothing to deal with the Hydras or the Queens on the ground, so everything is just going to get taken out.
GG! And that is going to be a Dark win to bring himself back in this series.
Crazy series we're having, so back and forth, and every game is unbelievably close. Classic just barely losing that one. Just not quite the right composition, and a fantastic engagement from Dark there. Great splitting on the Corruptors, and just a good mix of units to deal with what Classic did have. So that's going to tie it up 2-2. And it's looking like the series we always hoped for and that we were expecting.
We're going the distance, guys, and I do want to thank everybody for coming out and tuning in to go the distance along with us. The journey of 1,000 StarCraft games starts with watching a single broadcast, and so nice to see that all of you guys are well on your way. Also, a big shout out to Ghost Dragon 777 who tweeted at me about the Regicide thing. If you guys want to do that too, you can do it at Rapid Casting and at Brendan Valdez.
Yep.
If you want to let us know anything that we miss or just little bits of wisdom you think that we should know,
Rapid's actually
there's
great
a lot
on
of that
Twitter.
there.
I should tweet more, but you and Wolf, you're like the Twitter lords.
And Wolf's Twitter
over here.
game is on point. Let's just
He
be
is
real
like
there.
adding in some crazy stuff. Guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, game number 5 between Dark and Classic.